Welcome back to the Dopest Show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer. This is Sasha. I'm going to skip the intro tonight because I just recorded this video, and when I went to upload it and I heard how it sounded, just something with the microphone came out completely just off. So anyway, in Roanoke, Virginia, there is a gang, well, there was a gang called the Goonz, kind of like after that Plies song. Okay, a lot of them were fiends, people like that, but they'd been to prison and they were tough, bad dudes. And they were robbing dealers. They were hitting all kinds of people. So, because I'm uploading this a little bit late, I'll cut this one a little bit short and tell the shorter version of it. But basically, what happened was them hitting somebody ended up getting me hit for a handful of money in the oddest type of way. So, the guy who I call Big Man, I met him in rehab when I was in drug court the first time. He was on federal probation, hustling and everything, but what he liked doing e-pills and stuff like that. He's basically an addict too. If you're going to keep on doing stuff and get yourself locked up, put in prison because of failed drug tests, you're an addict. So, he wouldn't think of himself as an addict. He'd probably be mad if you heard me say that. And basically what had happened was he went to 102 Summer Jams, which is a huge rap concert. I believe it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, with a whole bunch of different people. During the time that he was in Charlotte at 102 Summer Jams with his brother-in-law, they were whooping it up, partying, drove his big old Escalade with 24s down there, and he had there's a clothing line called Coogee, and if anybody, some people know about it, it's expensive, it's the exclusive stuff, and it cost a good bit. He'd have his broke out Coogee jacket and all that stuff. I saw him before they took off. Now, during the time that they were down there, his wife and his baby were at home. They don't live like in the ghetto. They don't really live in the ghetto, but they live in a place that, stuff does happen sometimes, from time to time. And, it's a neighborhood. I mean, it's not like it's just some place. So, it's an odd place for this to happen, but the Goonz were people, they knew who the players were, and he was one of the top 4 guys in town. And what ultimately happened was, when they were at that concert, his wife, who was alone at home with the baby, the back door got kicked in. 3 guys ran up in there, threatened the baby and everything, and hit the place. Now, he ended up getting hit for a good bit. His brother-in-law, sounds like he got hit for everything because his hiding spot was stupid. He lived with them. His brother-in-law was basically a bum. The biggest part of the time that I was going down, and getting stuff, doing my thing, every time I went over there, he was just sitting on the couch, just taking up space, free riding. Then the man from New York came, and since he was from New York, I guess, they figured it's a homie or something. And then he started getting in on the dope, instead of coke. And that whole thing, once that happened, everything went really down. I mean, it was all destined for prison in the end, but dope, I mean, if you know, you know. So, when he gets back, I went over to see him, and the back door was kicked in, you'd see. And he was nervous, he was shook. He had things out you weren't supposed to have if you was a felon. And he ended up going to the Holiday Inn, staying there. And I figure it was because, he was scared. And I can't blame him. Shoot. I'd be a little nervous too with his wife. And, it was a slow time. It was like nothing happened for days on end. Now, during this time, I had gotten physically addicted, but I had also had a backup plan. I went to go see a Suboxone doctor, and I did have that. So, I had that so I didn't have to be sick. But I was greedy, and I wanted to get high. I was a greedy addict. I was a greedy dealer. I wanted to be hustling, just sitting still, not doing anything, drove me crazy. So day after day, not a whole lot happened. I figured, I'd call him. I tried calling him this particular day. He's supposed to be at the Holiday Inn. He doesn't pick up. So I figured, shoot, I'll try his brother-in-law. And he says, yeah. He says, actually, today, it went through. So I get in the car. The guy who drove me was the guy who, I talked about the apartment that I lived in that was furnished with the stuff from Aaron's in a video back. This guy and his girlfriend, basically the guy did nothing. He basically drove his girlfriend to make sure she was safe, and she was like a stripper who people call to their houses. She'd do more than stripping. There's a story about that too. I don't think he knew that, but he found that out. And he was the driver, and then the guy who, I said was like my brother, big man who's staying in the Holiday Inn, who I was speaking of. When I got set up, I was getting driven to meet him by somebody else, And the guy who I thought of like my brother, he was in the back seat texting Vice. So I met Big Man, he drove off, and I get hit by Vice. I thought my dealer set me up, for the longest time. Especially after I found out, his third distribution charge in the federal system, he only got 2 years. You don't get 2 years. Feds burn your butt up. And his first charge, he got caught with 3 pieces and a half of brick, and he only got 5 years. But see, I was a kid, I thought, 5 years, that's a good long time. Yeah, but anyhow. So, I'm going to cut to the chase with this one. So, they drive me over there, and I had like 600 I put in. They put in a couple hundred a piece too. And I go inside, and it's they wait in the car, and this guy, the brother-in-law, he's got some little friend over. Ain't a big guy at all, not threatening, but Big Man's baby's there. So I figure, well, maybe he's not scared. Maybe him and the girl just trying to get freaky time over at the hotel. He's got this cute little newborn baby, smiling, giggling on the couch. Just a cute baby, just laying there on a blanket on the couch. I give him the money. He goes back in the kitchen where I cut and bagged more than I can count, more times. And he tells his friend, turn the music up. I learned after this time, there were times when people tried to turn the music up on me and get some type of conspiring, demean me harm. And I knew better then because of this time. Well, his cousin walks back in the kitchen. He comes back out and he says he'll meet you at the corner in about 10 minutes. I said, do what? I walked past. He's like, where are you going? He thought I was just going to go along with it. I walk back in the kitchen and the back door is wide open. There are fences and stuff back there. He done took out the back door with my money. And the 2 guys who came with me. But I had the most out of the bunch. I wasn't getting a whole bunch because through Big Man, I got the tax breaks and everything like that. But he wasn't as big, and I figured it would just be something to get a hold of, to use, get a little bit off of until Big Man got back and I could deal with him. So I tell the guys who were in the car, he took off out the back door with that baby in the house. He's lucky that I'm a nice person. I would never do anything like that, but that's stupid. You're going to rob somebody with your nephew on the couch. You're going to rob somebody, take off the back door, and leave them in the house with your nephew after you've robbed them? Stupid. I got 2 guys from the car, though. We searched the backyard, some sheds and other stuff back there, see if he's hiding back there, come snatch him up. Nah, he must have known somebody. He didn't have a car. So he must have known somebody. He dipped into their house. We drove all over looking that whole block, everywhere for it. He must have been in somebody's house. And we did it for a minute, and we even stayed out there watching for the longest time. But anyway, he got off with the money. But putting his nephew at risk, doing a robbery with the nephew, that's stupid as can be. Ultimately, this guy who I spoke of, the one who took the brother-in-law, he's not with us anymore. He never got big time. He got like middle level. And when I was in prison, I saw that, he was trying to do these put on these rap shows, have rappers come and stuff like that. And it said that he got in the middle of something and, he ain't with us no more. I guarantee you it was because he did some grimy stuff, some punk stuff like that, taking off the back door on somebody. So he ain't with us anymore. Now the other guy, the guy who was in the car texting Big Man, Device, and the other story, he ain't with us anymore. Both of them, they're gone. They are not with us anymore. They passed. The other guy OD'd. They said, I heard he was setting up some 1% biker gang guy, and they got word of it, gave him a hot shot. It's hard to tell what exactly really happened, but that's what his stepdad said. Told my mom, he came in to the store and said something about that. And I learned that he did definitely tell me because the stepdad said that he used to cry to his mom saying that was the biggest mistake he ever made because I was the best friend he ever had, and he did that to me. But it's what happened. You sell drugs, you get in trouble. So I'm not saying it sucks that it's your best friend that set me up, but that's what I get. That's what I was doing, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, the Goonz hitting that house was because of that. The Goonz ended up all going to federal prison too. That was a huge thing, and I'll talk about that in another story. But them hitting the house, Big Man got a good hit took out of him, but he had so many different hiding places, so much stuff, they didn't get everything from him. It sounded like the brother-in-law had everything in one spot. And yeah, it sounded like he got hit for everything. So he pulled this little, can't even call it a jack move, call it a dip and run move. It was the biggest bunch of BS I'd ever seen in my life. Leave me in there with his nephew, his infant nephew laying on the couch. It was the most ignorant, irresponsible thing I'd ever seen in my life. Put your family member at risk like that. But anyway, that was about it for this one. If you liked it, press the like button. Sorry it's a little bit shorter. I cut it short so that I could get it up on time tonight. The first time I did this, something with the microphone is what it sounded like. So anyway, that's it.